Hello and welcome to Virtual Investor Conferences. My name is Bob Power, and on behalf of OTC Markets, we're very pleased you've joined us for today's battery and precious metals presentations. Our next live presentation comes from Lavras Gold Corporation. Before I introduce our speaker, a few points to note. Please submit your questions in the question box to the left of the slides. If you're interested in scheduling a meeting with Lavras Gold, please click on the Meetings tab found on the left navigation bar. You'll be able to view the company's availability and submit a meeting request. On a final note, all of today's presentations will be recorded and available for 24/7 replay. At this point, I'm very pleased to welcome Michael DeRose, President and CEO of Lavras Gold, which trades on the OTCQB venture market under the symbol LGCFF and on the TSXV under the symbol LGC. Welcome, Mike.
Thank you, Bob, and thanks everybody for taking the time to listen to the Lavras Gold Corporation presentation. The title of our presentation is Exploring to Realize the Potential of a Multi-Million Ounce Gold District in Southern Brazil. Please note that we will be making some forward-looking statements, and so please read the disclaimer. Lavras is a relatively new company. We went public in April of 2022, a consequence of being spun out by a predecessor, bought out by another company called Hochschild's Mining, who purchased our predecessor company called Amarillo Gold. During the spin out, we were spun out with $10 million in cash, a 2% royalty on the mine that Hochschild's is currently building, as well as about 1 million ounces of gold on our Lavras do Sol project in southern Brazil, which is the current focus of the company. We are led by a team of exploration, mining, and capital markets professionals. My background is in geology, mineral economics, and environmental engineering. Our chairman is Rolly Uloth. He is a former president and CEO of a producing gold mining company called Wesdome Gold. He is also a business entrepreneur based in Toronto, Canada, where he formed a company called Rosedale Transport. Our manager in Brazil is Paulo Serpa. He is the face of the company in Brazil. He is a mining engineer with an MBA, a lot of experience in the gold mining industry, formerly working with a company called Yamana Gold. We also have a board that has a combination of capital markets and technical experience. Our capital structure is tight. We have 41.1 million shares outstanding, currently trading at a price of about 45 cents Canadian a share, giving us a market valuation of about $19 million. We have cash as of the end of the third quarter of 6.6 million, which will allow us to meet our short-term objectives. In terms of our shareholder base, we have a combination of good institutional and retail shareholders, and management and the board owns just under 24% of the company. One of our anchor investors is a well-known, highly regarded gold investor, Eric Sprott. We also have this 2% net smelter return or revenue-based royalty on all of the exploration ground around the Mara Rosa project, which is in central Brazil. In terms of our valuation, one way to filter through exploration companies is to look at their enterprise value per ounce of gold in the ground. We are currently trading at about $4 an ounce in the ground, compared to an industry average of $25 to $30 an ounce. So in this sense, we think the stock is undervalued and offers a compelling investment opportunity or entry point for investors looking for exposure to our royalty as well as our exploration upside. In terms of discovery cost per ounce, this is one way to filter through and look at exploration efficiency. And based on historical exploration spending on the Lavras ground, which totals about 14 million Canadian or 11 million US dollars, based on the million ounces of gold resources that we have, that translates into a discovery cost of $11 an ounce. This compares to the industry average of about $30 an ounce and an average of about $132 an ounce in the ground for Latin America, which is our jurisdiction. So in this sense, we're very happy and proud to say that we are spending money and we are finding gold very efficiently. In terms of our royalty, this is something we have in our back pocket. This diagram on the left shows the Mara Rosa property that is being built to production by Hochschild's Mining. Basically, this mine should be in production by the first half of 2024, according to Hochschild's. We have a royalty that covers all of the exploration grounds surrounding the mine that will be built to production. It includes a discovery that we made at Amarillo Gold called Pistino, which is located about 3.1 kilometers to the northeast of the Posse pit, which will be in production. Based on our exploration work when we were with Amarillo Gold, we made a new discovery at Pistino with a gold deposit that may be a total amount of ounces of something like 300,000 to 500,000 ounces based on our best estimates. Our belief is that Pistino will ultimately become a source of mill feed for the Mara Rosa mill, and in this sense, it creates value for our royalty. Moving down to southern Brazil, where we are focused on our LDS project, I just wanted to point out the location. It's located in the southern state of Rio Grande do Sul. It's located south of Rio de Janeiro, and the major city is a port city called Porto Alegre. You drive for about 4.5 hours down a tarmac road, as shown in this photo, where we have excellent infrastructure, and most of our team is basically centered in the town of Lavras and is from the area. We have power, we have water, we have excellent access to the property, which is really important when you're building mining projects. In terms of our geological model, the slide on the left really just shows that we're dealing with what we call an intrusive hosted gold system. Basically, the slide is showing a volcano where the source of the gold and the copper and the silver that we're finding is actually from the original magma chamber of that volcano. These fluids and gases have kind of worked their way up through that magma chamber into the overlying volcanic rocks. And as those fluids cooled, they started to precipitate out the various minerals that we are finding. So why is this important? It's important because these types of mineral systems can be very, very large. On the left-hand side, I show the Porgera deposit, which has an area of 3 to 4 kilometers where you find mineralized material. That hosts a total gold endowment of 26 million ounces. In the middle, I show the Olympic Dam project, which has an area of 4 to 5 kilometers where you get mineralized rock. That's a total of 90 million ounces of gold. And then on the third panel, I show the Cripple Creek deposit, which is 26 million ounces. That's in Colorado. It has a physical size of something like 5 to 6 kilometers in diameter. And when we look at our Lavras mineral system, we have an area of where we see gold and copper mineralization over an area of 10 to 11 kilometers. So we know we have a very large mineral system. The key for us is to explore systematically this property where we can try and focus in on the areas which could have economic significance. Now, these two panels show the project as if you were sitting in a helicopter looking down. The circular feature on the left-hand side shows the Lavras do Sul intrusive complex, which hosts most of the gold mineralization and copper mineralization that we're finding. We also find mineralization in the green area, which are overlying volcanic rocks. So essentially what we're looking at when we look at the circular feature is the remnants of an old magma chamber. The panel on the right-hand side shows the priority areas where we've been focusing, which include Buchia, Cerrito, Zekasuza, Matilje Extension, and our Canalera target. This just shows our claim maps, the areas outlined in red. It shows that we've been able to consolidate the land package so that we can systematically explore across the deposit area, hopefully finding good mineralization, which will ultimately be economic. Conceptually, we think what will happen at Mara Rosa over time, if we're successful with our exploration program, is that you will have some sort of a centralized plant where you're feeding mineralization from these various targets in the district. What does this look like? This is the first panel showing what our Butia prospect looks like. It's about 500,000 ounces of gold. It's a near-surface, open-pittable type of target. We've drilled about 20,000 meters into Butia. This is essentially altered granites, as shown in the photo on the right-hand side. The Cerrito prospect is our second 500,000 ounces of gold. It's also sitting right near surface. Looks a little bit different. It's more of a disseminated style of mineralization, but we've drilled about 15,000 meters and 93 holes there. The deposit is open at depth and is open along strike, where we've defined it for about 1.3 kilometers so far. In terms of our discoveries, the first discovery that we announced since going public was Zekasuza. That's located in the western portion of our claims. And we drilled 14 holes, just under 3,000 meters of drilling, and we intersected gold mineralization starting at surface in all 14 holes, and several of those holes bottomed in mineralization. So we're very excited by the fact that we got gold in all 14 holes in the first time testing this target. So we're following up on our drilling with this prospect as we speak. Just zooming out a little bit, you can see the 14 holes on the left-hand side of the diagram on the left. That's the Zekasuza target. But about 600 to 700 meters to the east of there, along where you see that nice blue kind of linear structure, is what we call our Candelaria target. Candelaria was drilled in 2007, 2008 by a predecessor company, where they hit gold mineralization associated with that blue sort of structure. The best hole drilled there was 36 meters of 1.42 grams per ton gold at a depth of about 50 meters vertical, or about 70 meters down that drill hole. Our thesis is that it's possible that the Zekasuza target, the new discovery that we made, is somehow connected to Candelaria, and we will be testing that thesis. In terms of what does this look like? Well, our best hole at Zekasuza was hole number 11, where we hit 15 meters of 5.8 grams per ton gold, about 100 meters below surface. So in other words, it's an open pitable type of target. The photo on the left shows that we have altered granites that are hosting these fractured silicified zones with visible gold. And within that sort of 15 meter interval of 5.8, we actually got 3 meters of 28.2 grams per ton gold. That's about 1 ounce per ton material, which is very valuable rock. The second discovery and third discoveries that we announced last year and earlier this year were the Matilje and Matilje extension deposits, as shown here on this slide. Matilje is basically located about 4.1 kilometers south of the town of Lavras de Sol. We've drilled just over 33 holes, I believe, publicly disclosed at Matilje, and about 7 holes at Matilje extension. You can see there's a nice east-west blue structure, which is the main kind of east-west structure that's part of what we're targeting. And then there's another structure that trends to the northwest. It's these intersecting structures which are providing these conduits or these channelways to focus the mineralization. These are prime targets. Basically, this is zooming out a little bit. You can see that green and yellow area. It shows a very large golden soil anomaly that measures about 3.1 kilometers in size. And then it measures about 2 kilometers in a north-south direction. This is what led us into the Matilje area. We were really looking for the source of the gold and the copper that we're finding there, and we have found it in these 2 deposits so far. I should mention that both deposits are open along strike and at depth, and we are following up on both of these mineral deposits or discoveries to see if we can grow them in terms of their size. This is an east-facing section. Basically shows that we've tested this thing down to about 500 meters vertical, and it's still open. These types of mineral systems are interesting because they can be very extensive in terms of vertical extent, not unheard of to have them go down a kilometer or kilometer and a half. So we're just drilling from surface, so we've been able to get down to about 500 or 550 meters, and it's still open at depth, which is very, very encouraging. What do the rocks look like? Well, this is just 3 photographs showing how varied the mineralization looks. Basically, we have this grayish looking rock with this musky colored mineral and some metallic minerals. Metallic mineral is what's carrying the gold. It's called pyrite. In this particular case, we got 3.7 grams per ton gold over about 1 meter, and that's about 200 meters down the drill core. We also find visible gold in the mineral system. In this case, in hole 20 MT002, we got 31 grams per ton gold over 0.6 meters. And then in the right-hand picture or photo, 22 MT034, We also got some visible gold where we got 13.3 grams per ton gold over about 0.7 meters. So what we're finding is we're getting kind of a lower grade halo of gold mineralization, 0.6, 0.7, 0.8 grams per ton gold. And then we're finding these higher grade sort of bonanza grades associated with this mineral system. And it's really telling us that this is a long-lived mineral system with multiple pulses of gold mineralization. And it's the higher grade intervals which will carry the economics. It's the lower grade gold that will give you the size and scale. This is some highlights from our Matilje extension target that we announced results for about 2 weeks ago. The highlight was hole number 20, where we hit 10 meters of 13.2 grams per ton gold, 23 grams per ton silver, and significantly 0.22% copper. This is the first time that we're seeing this kind of copper and silver mineralization in the drilling that we've done. And the significance is that it's telling us that some of the higher temperature fluids, which tend to be associated with the higher grade copper and silver, are probably related to what we're finding at Matilje extension. And so certainly we have a lot more work to be done, but this yellow area in that sea of blue, if you like, is really showing us where we see copper anomalism within the soil surveys that we've completed. So certainly a lot of upside in our opinion. This is just a more detailed view looking at some magnetics in the background. Again, it's really just showing the structural complexity of these targets. The blues are showing us these east-west structures and these northeast trending structures. It's where those structures come together is where we tend to find those conduits which will focus the gold mineralization. What does this look like at Matilje extension? This is just a series of drill core photos. The left-hand side shows what's happening at depth. You can see it at about 300 meters vertical. You've got these strongly altered rocks with sulfides, which carry the high-grade gold. That's the 10 meters of 13.2 grams that we talked about. And as you work your way up to surface, which is on the right-hand side, you see that the rocks get less altered. But we are still seeing very high gold values and significant silver and copper values, even at surface in these micro veinlets. And that's telling us that whatever fluids were carrying the mineralization and going through these rocks, they were well endowed with metals. And so we can say that we've got at least 200 meters vertical of this mineral system. The key for us is to follow up on these results and see if we can build out the critical mass that we're looking for. So just to wrap things up and sum it up, basically we think that the exploration potential of our LDS project in southern Brazil is very significant. We believe we have a geological model which is akin to very large type of gold copper systems. We know that we have at least 1 million ounces of gold from 2 of 23 known gold prospects on our property. We've consolidated our property, so what we're trying to do is systematically drill test each of these showings to see what kind of mineral resource we can build upon. As I mentioned in this presentation, we've actually announced 3 new discoveries since going public last April, which is quite an achievement, and we're following up on those results and hopefully generating new targets to test as well. We think from a valuation perspective, we're trading at a very low valuation relative to the upside potential. And we will have a lot of catalysts moving into the near future as we have the budget to continue to drill and test a number of our targets. So with that, I'll turn it over to Anne-Marie Brissenden to ask any questions.
Thanks, Mike, and thank you all for joining this afternoon. We have some great questions, Mike. Our first one is, what attracted Eric Sprott to invest in Lavras?
Yeah, so Eric Sprott became a shareholder in our predecessor company called Amarillo Gold. Amarillo had two key projects. They had the Mara Rosa project, which I talked about, which we have a royalty on. That's a mine development stage asset. And then we have the Lavras Gold project in southern Brazil. Eric, I believe, was most interested in the exploration upside here at Lavras. He's one of these guys that really loves to create value in the mining business, in the gold mining business through drilling and exploration success. So that's my understanding.
Our second question is, what are some catalysts for a reevaluation, of Lavras?
Yeah, so I mean, the key thing is really just demonstrating and proving the exploration upside that exists on our property. So I think the catalyst will be continued exploration success. building out our gold ounces, and also showing that there's not just medium and moderate grade gold mineralization here, but also significant high grade mineralization as well. And so, as I was saying, we're really de-risking on the geological side at this point, but we're also starting to de-risk on the permitting side. So I think de-risking on both of those pathways is what's going to be the catalyst to surface value. I think we've lost Anne-Marie. Yeah, we can hear you.
What are your key milestones for 2023?
Well, for 2023, we're continuing with a fairly aggressive exploration program. We have a 16,000 meter drilling budget with 2 drills on site as we speak. And the key milestones will be that, just to test these mineral targets that we have, and to put out the results as we receive them. And hopefully we'll have some good results like Matilde extension to follow up on.
Our next question is regarding the liquidity. What will you do for more liquidity in your shares?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a great question. I mean, we are a junior, and we've just gone public in less than a year so far. We have just listed on the the over-the-counter market, and we're hoping that will facilitate better trading, especially among potential U.S. investors. And we're out there marketing and getting the story known, or better known, and hopefully that will increase our share liquidity moving forward.
Great. That looks to be the end of the questions, Mike.
Okay, well, thank you, Anne-Marie. And thanks, everybody, for taking the time to listen to the Lavras Gold Corporation story. If you have any questions, please reach out to us. And again, thank you for your time. With that, we'll